Creating characters. There are two ways of creating stories. One is to create a character capable of generating stories, where the author makes up stories just to run the character, and that person becomes popular. The other way is to create a popular tale and populate it with stock characters who are interchangeable. Plots and characters are well defined in writing classes. One of the more complex teaching packages is called Dramatica, which many people use to create stories and characters. The search for the hero. One tale is so popular that many think it is the universal tale. It is called The Hero's Journey. The protagonist of this tale is the brave and lucky lad, or a commoner who goes into a magical world to learn lessons that enables him to become a king or an adult. He often gains abilities and confidence, becoming recognized for his fortune. He is helped by a mentor or various other characters who all fight to protect each other. But what happens when you take this hero's journey and your protagonist is not a brave and lucky lad? What happens when you then try to change that popular character into a brave and lucky lad? We have a great example of this in the remakes of the popular Star Trek series, where they replaced a commander with a hero. Both are protagonists, but one has a very different personality from the other. This affects their interactions with the other characters and changes the plot. The hero's journey is also not universal. Sometimes a heroic protagonist shows up in a different story archetype. The movie Underworld has a bride plot, but Celine is not a bride character. In the movie High Noon, the story is a hero's journey with a hero, but in the movie A Fistful of Dollars, the stranger is not a hero and the story is not a hero's journey. Please realize that I do not use writing programs, but follow my own discoveries of story archetypes, which I go into in great detail on my videos about plot. The hero is an archetype who masters himself through adherence to a group, showing loyalty and a willingness to protect. The bride is a person who relies on performance and beauty to be of service to the world. The trickster succeeds against an overwhelming enemy through guile and brains. The witch archetype is dedicated to their own talent and is interrupted in the creation to destroy the world and start anew. Hero characters. When creating a protagonist, it's important to first consider which story you want to tell. The hero is the most common of the protagonists in writing lessons. Most heroes are not broken, just young and naive. They often want to be better than they are, and they must fix a problem they have, usually with their home situation. There are two popular heroic stories, coming of age and the older person called on to defend something. Witch characters. This kind of character rarely shows up as a protagonist except in Fall from Grace stories. This character is usually passive and introverted, driven by inner demons or an obsessive vision. They are often seen as threats or as a weapon, often filling the role of antagonist or quirky friends. Bride characters. This is another passive character whose motivating force is in being, not in acting against someone else. They are a responsive character, and as a protagonist are often maligned as waiting for someone to rescue them. Their trials are of self-worth and of their willingness to serve. They are assisted by pets and a mentor in the guise of a mother figure. The two popular stories are romance stories and wife stories that are often about people freeing themselves from a bad marriage or a bad job. Trickster characters. The trickster story is about revenge or justice. Unlike the hero, the trickster is not looking to fix the self, but to right a wrong. These characters are often comedies where they get revenge against an oppressive situation. PI stories, mysteries, and comedies are often dominated by tricksters. Some characters are crossover characters like James Bond, who is a trickster defending the kingdom. Tricksters are often loners, and much like the people they oppose, except they are moral, not evil. Two popular stories are the vengeance story and the investigator story. Working character bundles. Much of Dramatica is demonstrating how to work a character bundle. Although it is fascinating, again, it is bound by the idea that a protagonist must be an active character rather than a responsive character. Many characters show an active response to a situation, as seen in many vengeance or investigator stories, but there are other stories where the tension mounts by the demonstration of increasing injustice until the response is no longer tolerance, but a desire to communicate with or abandon the oppressor. Character personalities. In classes, personalities are bound by the type of story. A protagonist must be a common personality. The antagonist or villain may be a more unusual type. There are many websites or books that will tell you how these characters behave and how they are bound to their roles. I believe that this ends up like a D&D game where you roll the dice to come up with attributes. Some lessons will address personality, and most like the Myers-Briggs personality test. This test was designed for use in professional situations, and I feel it is too complex for fiction. The best personality map for fiction is called the Enneagram map, after 9 broken traits and their corresponding ways to move out of those traits. They are also bound by their positions on the map, making 18 personalities out of 9 with differences in health or damage, showing where the types integrate to or disintegrate to. Most of the types, 15 out of 18, are tied to fear, which is why this is a popular motivation in characters. I will go into greater detail about this map, but here are some interesting features that make it useful for fiction. What makes the Enneagram work well for fiction is its movement. It works as a dynamic map and thus works well for the integration or disintegration of characters. While under stress, the 6 type might suffer from fear and anxiety and distrust, but the integrated type will find acceptance and peace, trusting in a larger force that takes away all the petty fears. But under stress, the 6 type will know paralyzing fear and do anything not to feel numb and dead. Here's a map showing the common types for some of the archetypes. Bride stories are commonly found with 2 types or 3 types who are usually concerned with controlling the people around them or concerned about morals and appearances, but integrate to be inspirational to their loved ones, learning that compassion and unconditional love will win out over vanity and worry. Here again are some maps of my own character typing for the Bond films, some cartoons, Star Trek, and Star Wars. Personality-driven characters. In my own work, I found typing to be helpful. Here I have a bad guy who ends up being a man who is not left alone by a controlling mother. He is a 9 with 8 wing and finds solace in drinking, but is also a compulsive gambler. He keeps trying to do the right thing, but only for his own social protection. Here are 2 other characters who are twins. One is a dominant 3 and the other a passive 6. In the fantasy world, they carry with them their character types, the 3 becoming a hero martyr, and the 6 in one world becoming a traitor and in the other a musician. What the artist sees. How do you describe characters so that an artist can interpret them? Writers often give very short, emotional descriptions that baffle the illustrator. There are hundreds of descriptions that are confusing to the writer. What does it mean to have a hooded eyes or a long lip? Here is Klaus Brandauer, a well-known character actor. He has a broad head and a square face. He has good bones and a cleft chin and a broad forehead. He has arching eyebrows, giving him an ironic look, and a long eye, meaning that the eyelid is hidden in a fold, almost oriental, although this kind of eye is common all over Europe. He has a sharp nose with an upturned tip. It is not an upturned nose as you see from his profile. He has a mouth with deep corners and well-defined lips, a smiling, small mouth. His ears are unremarkable. He has a square jaw and a pointed chin. He has a receding hairline and thin, flyaway hair. Emotionally, he is wry, sarcastic, impish, friendly, but a joker, extremely intelligent, of the quick, wordy sort, a bit boyish, with a streak of cynical cleverness, maybe cruel at times. The parts he is chosen for are the intellectual villain, the cynical teacher, and the failed lover. Next actor, Leonard Nimoy, is a very different sort of character. He has a long head and a narrow face. He has good bones, a rounded chin, and a normal forehead. He has arching brows and a long, deep-set eye. He has a long lip and a straight nose with narrow nostrils. His mouth is unremarkable but stoic, narrower lips. His ears are unremarkable. He has long cheeks and eyes deep-set under his brow. His hair is straight and unremarkable. Emotionally, he is stoic, intense, clever but quiet, thoughtful but prone to outbursts of passion. He is upright but witty and could be cynical or cruel. He is nowhere near as clever as Brandauer, but he is also not jaded or deviant. The parts he is chosen for are the intellectual villain, the dark lover, and the reluctant hero. Charlton Heston, an American actor more of the heroic type, is yet another type of person. He has a long face and a long head and is well proportioned. He has good bones and a square chin and a broad forehead. He has a long eye under prominent, straight brows. He has intense blue eyes. He has an aquiline nose that is sharp, downturned with flaring nostrils. He has full or pouty lips or a passionate mouth. His ears are unremarkable. He has a square jaw and a strong, square chin. He has hair that waves off the brow. Emotionally, he is cruel, passionate, idealistic, intense, capable without being intellectual, brutal without being animal-like or self-righteous, heroic, self-sacrificing, and without humor. The parts he is chosen for are the hero with a cause, the one admired, the leader, the king. He would never be cast as an extra or a character actor, for his stage presence would dominate center. Sean Connery is a typical Celtic type. He has a long face and a long head and is well proportioned. He has good bones and a pointed chin and a broad forehead, classic diamond face. He has a long eye under prominent arching brows called ironic or sarcastic. He has intense black eyes. He has the long Celt nose downturned with flaring nostrils and an upturned tip. He has the Celt curly mouth called the sneering mouth, the bow-shaped mouth, the cruel mouth. Notice how it dips down and then up again. His ears are unremarkable. He has deep dimples in his cheeks, almost slashed cheeks, and a forceful, dimpled chin. He has hair that waves off the brow, later a receding hairline. Emotionally, he is cruel, passionate, selfish, mocking, driven, self-centered, brutal, arrogant, and vain. He would have never been cast as a hero in the States. He is classically bad news, especially for women who he would use or abuse. The parts he is chosen for, had he been American, would have been the bad lover, the ruthless villain without remorse or conscience, the driven machine man, or the abusive egoist. Leonardo DiCaprio is a more typical hero of the American type. He has a moderate facial type, the classic heart face. He has good bones, an pointed chin, and a broad forehead. He has soft, clear eyes under level brows. He has an unremarkable nose, but you could call it boyish. He has a slightly pouty mouth, well-shaped. His ears are unremarkable. He has dimples in his cheeks and a chin and a heart-shaped face. He has blonde, straight hair, a bit tousled or swept off the brow, and a slight widow's peak. Emotionally, he looks innocent and boyish, charming and sweet without being weak. He looks like Huck Finn enough to be the boy next door, but also devoted, loyal, and earnest, rather than tricky or moody. He does not look prone to sadness and needy. He looks like he loves to laugh, but tends to be too interested in pleasing to be happy-go-lucky. He looks like he cares. The parts he is chosen for should be the boy hero, the boy gone wrong with a heart of gold who is led back to the right path, the modern hero, needs helpers, not a loner, or the team inspiration. African American actors often have very European features, like Denzel Washington, who is very much an American heroic type. Other actors are much more interesting, like Lawrence Fishburne. He has a moderate facial type, the classic bucket face. He has good bones, a heavy brow, and a heavy jaw. He has arching thin brows over normal African eyes. His iris floats high enough in the eye to indicate a melancholic temperament. He has an unremarkable nose, straight, well-formed, a bit of flaring nostrils. His most abnormal feature is his short lip over splayed teeth. Many Europeans have this short lip, either with a long nose or like Fishburne, because the entire mouth is set high in the face, making his chin look longer. This is considered heroic, but also indicative of gluttony. His ears are unremarkable. His jaw is very heavy, making him look less intellectual, but his gaze contradicts this, giving him the look of a bully and a rebel. He also had, when young, a very straight hairline and a wide, low brow. He looked more intellectual when bald, now with a receding hairline. Emotionally, he looks like trouble. He looks moody and hot-headed, impulsive, and leaping to feeling bad about it later. He looks very stubborn, but also full of loud laughter when moved. He looks thoughtful, but also brooding and not easy in himself. It would be a mistake to think him brutal. He does not have the eyes for it. The jaw indicates a tendency to block action and to die trying rather than a bully or a brute. The parts he is chosen for would be an outsider who comes up from behind, not to win, but to die trying. He would not play the lover, but the fighter, the rebel, the man with a mission, the heavyweight who gives his life for the cause. LeVar Burton is a much more typical African actor. He has a broad head type with a heart-shaped face. He has good bones, a heavy brow, a square jaw, and a pointed chin. He has short eyebrows over prominent eyes that are wide-set and sparkling. He has a flat, wide nose with high-cut nostrils. His mouth is large but well-proportioned, and he smiles even when he is still. His ears are unremarkable. He has a sincere, open look, exaggerated by his wide-set eyes, and looks like he enjoys life and having a good time. He looks open and friendly. His eyes tend to be heavily circled in some light with heavy pockets that give him a smiling look. Emotionally, he looks like a friend. He looks young at heart, but maybe young in spirit, enthusiastic, and a bit headstrong. He has an open look that makes you want to trust him. He looks like someone next door that you would want to hire to be friends with. He looks loyal and bright. The parts he is chosen for would be a hero's helper, possibly a hero, but a friend, not a lover. He would be a fighter, but would want to help a cause and get everyone to work together to make the world a better place. Women actresses tend to be more heavily stereotyped than men. Audrey Hepburn is one such classic beauty. Like almost all beauties, she is mesocephalic or a normal head type. Do not use a long face or a broad face to describe women. She has prominent cheekbones and a wide brow and a dainty chin. She has heavily arched brows that are shaped like raven's wings. She has very heavy-lidded eyes, deep-set, slightly tilted but unhappy. Note the floating iris. She has a very long nose with a marked septum, which is called high-cut nostrils. She has a short lip, rose lips, and an enchanting smile, lights up face, changing it. Her ears are unremarkable. She has a sincere, open look, exaggerated by her wide-set eyes, and looks like she enjoys life and having a good time. She looks open and friendly. Because her eyes are so large, you do not notice how large the nose is. But in her young picture, you can see that the plucked brows and the lighter eye color make the nose suddenly jump out. Emotionally, she looks frightened, defensive, moody, and otherworldly. She looks frail and in need of help. She looks like she suffers from depression and indulges in some kind of gluttonous behavior, not discerning. She looks friendly, but hurt. The parts she would play would be the heroine who needs help, the woman who is her own worst enemy, the elven companion who attracts trouble. She would not play the ruling queen, but the lost queen, despairing and alone. So how to describe people? You're certainly not going to go into such detail as I've just given you on these actors. However, if you're expecting an artist to follow your lead, you need to help. I've often asked writers to pick an actor who fits the written character. Most writers intuitively know who their characters resemble, but AI-generated art will not know. Actors also tend to follow stereotypes. You can see here how similar Halle Berry is to Demi Moore, rather than a native African. Halle is similar to many other brunette actresses. There is some variation in face width, but the similarities are striking. If we move out of the acting world, we see some people who do not fit the Hollywood standards. Jackie Kennedy certainly did not fit the actress standard with her square face and her wide-set eyes, yet she was considered a great beauty. Another beauty, Grace Slick, had very close-set eyes and a long face. Grace Kelly follows the standard for American blonde actresses, but needed careful lighting and makeup not to get lost in the flash of the camera. Probably one of the most iconic actresses who did not fit the standard was Barbra Streisand with her regal nose and her deep-set eyes. Note here the differences between Whoopi Goldberg on the left and Oprah Winfrey on the right. Whoopi does not follow the standard, yet Oprah does. Also be aware that you need to know the difference between an aquiline nose and a button nose, otherwise you might end up with something interesting. Artistic interpretations of your work. Even if you give descriptions, part of popularity is that people will reinterpret it. Fans will be outraged and other fans will enjoy the changes. Tolkien describes his character Aragorn as dressed in brown and rusty green with black hair and gray eyes, with the regal long face of the men of Westeros. He is also 90 years old in Lord of the Rings. Dune interpretations are worse. Paul Atreides is described as having an oval face with an aquiline nose, black hair, and green eyes. He also has a very full lower lip inherited from his Harkonnen mother. I used photos from the Mideast for reference and tried to stay with the description. The artistic depictions of Bjorn from Tolkien's book The Hobbit were what made me realize that I had to draw my own characters. You'll notice that many artists use the brutish bear characteristics in their interpretations. Nowhere did Tolkien describe him with a low forehead and heavy eyebrows. I did my own shapeshifter more along the lines of my own interpretation of Bjorn. The final straw for me was when Heinlein's 25th anniversary cover came out for The Moon as a Harsh Mistress. Heinlein is one of the first authors to break the color bar, and the interpretation of the main character was a white guy. I did my own cover. I was so angry. Often, movie interpretations will become more popular than the novels. Few have actually read the Bond novels, and there is another layer in historical films with accuracy in costumes and morals. So what do? Of prime importance is creating a main character whose personality will outshine all interpretations. Second, you must create a character conflict that bonds two characters together. Who could see a Watson without a Holmes or a Darcy without Lizzie? Characters can be so broken that they drive horror stories, or so oppressed that you want their revenge, or so involved with their cohorts that they are seen as a group, or so wacky that you long to adventure with them. Whatever you do, personality will make them memorable.